blowing up my entire trading account was the best thing that ever happened to me. I know that sounds crazy, but stay with me, because back in 2013, one disaster wiped out everything. It left me with just $20 in my trading account and sent me into a deep depression. But that failure was the expensive tuition that finally turned me around from a gambler into a real trader. And in this video, I'm not just sharing a story. I'm giving you the exact playbook that failure taught me. We are going to dissect the psychological trap of what I call the dopamine chart, walk through the fatal mistakes that cost me everything, and then I'll give you the simple 3-point trader's creed that you can use to finally escape the cycle of losing money and trade with control. So let's start with the psychological trap that catches almost every losing trader. When I first started, I was convinced the secret to trading was being in the middle of the action, glued to the 1-minute chart, watching every single tick. It felt professional and it felt exciting. But what if I told you that the very thing that feels the most like real trading is actually a psychological trap set up to make you lose money? So this story starts back in August of 2013. I was working a demanding job at a bank, and a friend introduced me to forex trading. I was instantly hooked. I saw it as my escape route from the 9 to 5. I believe, like so many of us do at the start, that to be a successful trader, you have to be in the market constantly. So I did what I thought I was supposed to. So I pulled up the 1-minute and 5-minute charts on my trading screen, and my entire world shrunk to just watching these tiny little bars wiggle up and down. I remember I'd be at my desk at work, trying to sneak glances at the charts on my phone. My heart would race when I saw a big candle move fast. I'd feel that intense fear of missing out, that FOMO, and so I'd jump in. It felt like I was in control, and it was an adrenaline rush. Every click was a shot of excitement, but it was all a lie. After weeks of this frantic, non-stop activity, my account was going nowhere. I was on a trading treadmill, running as fast as I could, my heart pounding just to stay in the exact same place. And worse, I was bleeding money. I was mistaking my activity for achievement. I was not trading. I was just clicking buttons. And I was about to find out that this addiction to the action was leading me straight off a cliff. So why does this happen? Why does that frantic, fast-paced chart watching feel so right but leads to such terrible results? It's the lesson I had to pay for with a blown-up trading account. Profitable trading is boring, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's calm, it's slow, and it's methodical. If you feel that thrill, if your heart is racing, you are no longer a trader, you are a gambler. That's the line. So my first rule was simple, and it's something you can do today. No trading apps on my phone, period. I made it impossible to get that quick dopamine hit away from my desk. This was not about being strong. It was about removing the option to be weak. This is the first and most important step to becoming a trader and not a gambler. You have to shift from chasing excitement to simply executing a plan. But after hearing that, a question probably pops up. How do I know if chasing excitement is my main problem, or if something else is the real cause of my trading losses? Because if you are trying to fix the wrong thing, you'll just keep spinning your wheels. That's exactly why I created a tool to find the real answer. It's a free 3-minute quiz that I think of as a trading blind spot finder. Now, it's not a magic fix, but it will give you a clear diagnosis of the number one critical error that's actually holding you back. Click the link in the description to take it right now. I designed it based on the costliest mistakes I've seen many traders make. Now, my addiction to that dopamine chart was the fuel. It wasn't the whole fire. That addiction led to a predictable series of fatal mistakes. A 5-act tragedy that completely destroyed my trading account. And as I walk you through it, I want you to ask yourself if you are making the same mistakes right now. That addiction to the dopamine chart creates a fog of emotion. And inside that fog, almost every trader walks the same path to ruin. And the scary part, you are probably on step 2 or 3 right now without even knowing it. This whole tragedy played out over my first 3 months of trading. It started with a single losing trade, not even a big one, but it felt like a personal insult. I was so sure, and the market told me I was wrong. My ego was bruised, and I wanted the money back. So instead of taking a break to cool off, I immediately jumped back into the market to show it who was boss. There was no strategy, no valid setup. It was pure emotion. I just told myself, I'm going to win that money back right now. Does that sound familiar? The revenge trade immediately went against me, and I panicked, and I made the next fatal mistake. I threw my risk rules out of the window. I doubled down on a losing trade, telling myself I could average down. I was only thinking about getting back to break even. With my account balance dropping fast, my mind did what every gambler's mind does. I flipped the hope switch. I stopped being a trader who analyzes and became a gambler who prays. I remember just staring at the screen, literally begging the price to turn around. I even moved the stop loss further, giving the losing trade more room to bleed, convinced it just had to come back. And then it was over. The margin call. The account got wiped out. All that hope, all that adrenaline, it vanished. And all that was left was silence. The kind of silence that's so loud, it rings in your ears. In 3 months, I had burned through my entire trading account right down to the last $20. I had failed completely. That final moment, that silence, that was my rock bottom. And to be completely honest with you, that failure sent me into a depression for about 2 or 3 months. I didn't trade. I felt worthless and I felt stupid. And I thought I was done with trading for good. But here's the strange thing. Looking back now, after more than 11 years, I can tell you that blowing up my trading account was the single biggest blessing of my entire career. But why? Because it was the only thing powerful enough to burn away all my bad habits. It burned away my ego, my greed, and my addiction to excitement. It was a cleansing fire. It gave me a blank slate. And this is the lesson that changed my entire trading life. My biggest failure was not a loss. It was a tuition payment. This is where I learned there are 2 types of losses in trading. First, there are statistical losses. These are the normal, acceptable costs of doing business when you follow a good plan. You expect them and you plan for them. But then there's the other kind, the one we rarely admit to. I call it the stupidity tax. It's the price you pay for breaking your own rules, for letting your emotions drive your decisions. And my entire blow up, that was one giant stupidity tax. And from that day forward, my number one goal became to never pay that tax again. That failure forced me to ask a completely new question. Instead of asking, how can I make money fast? I started asking, how can I build a process that is so simple and so robust that it's impossible for my emotion to hijack it? And the answer, ironically, was hidden in my biggest limitation, my lack of time. For years, I saw my demanding bank job as my biggest weakness. I thought, if I only had hours to watch the charts, then I could succeed. I was completely wrong. That lack of time was not my handicap. It was actually my secret weapon. It was the one thing that forced me to build a trading system with zero room for emotion. And it's exactly the reason you can succeed in trading too. Think about it. A trader with unlimited time has unlimited opportunities to make emotional mistakes. They get bored, so they start seeing setups that aren't really there. They see a trade move a little bit, get scared, and start meddling with it. They have all day to second guess their own plan and sabotage their own success. But the busy professional, the person with only 30 minutes a day, we don't have that luxury. And that is our winning edge. After my account blew up, I still had my banking job. I couldn't watch the charts all day. I was forced to adapt. So I started a new routine. Every morning, I'd wake up early, analyze the charts for just 30 minutes, place my pending orders with a predefined stop loss and take profit, and then I would shut my laptop and go to work. I didn't check the charts on my lunch break. I didn't have a single trading app on my phone. And here's what I found. My discipline did not come from trying to be strong. It came from designing a system where I could not be weak. And I call this system the 30-minute execution filter. So what was this simple plan that the 30-minute execution filter forced me to follow? It wasn't a complex indicator or a secret formula. It all came down to a simple 3-point grid that I wrote down and reviewed every single trading day. And it's the foundation of how I still trade today. I call it the trader's grid. First, I am a risk manager, not a profit chaser. This was the biggest shift. My first job is not to make money. My first job is to survive. I learned to decide exactly how much I was willing to lose on a trade before I even clicked the button. In my mind, that money was already gone. That simple act kills the fear. Second, I trade my plan, not my opinion. My feelings about whether the market looks good or feels bullish are completely worthless. The only thing that matters are the objective black and white signals outlined in my written trading plan. If a setup is not a perfect match to that reference image in my plan, I don't trade, with no exceptions. This rule kills the guesswork. And third, the one that ties it all together, I am boringly consistent. This was the final nail in the coffin of the dopamine chart. My goal is not excitement. My goal is flawless execution of a proven process over and over and over again. My trading journal, my log of discipline, became more important than my P&L. This rule starves the gambler and feeds the trader. My job is to be a machine. Money risk fast. Follow a written plan and be boring. This is the real difference between a gambler and a trader. The gambler chases the thrill of the win, but the professional trader embraces the boring, methodical process of execution. So that simple 3-point grid I shared, risk manager first, trade the plan, be boring, is the why behind my success. But it's useless without the how. It's the difference between knowing you need to build a house and having the actual blueprint in your hands. So how do you turn that grid into a simple, repeatable checklist that you can use in just 30 minutes? Check out this next video where I walk you through the exact 6-point trading checklist I use every single day to stay disciplined and trade with absolute clarity. See you in that video.